Now, the Igbo didn't begin as the political outcast of Nigeria's seeming tripartite system. In the build-up to the 1959 general elections, which were a pathway to the promised self-government, the political ambitions of the three regions were at play. No region instantly dominated the political space, and so it triggered the quest for a coalition in the then parliamentary system. Since the war, the Igbo have become victims of systemic exclusivity. Their desires to stabilize the federation, but a cloud of trust has been hovering over their quest for power, even though the political elites from the other regions seemed to have conspired to bar them from the presidency. Many believe that Alex Ekweme's emergence as vice president to Shehu Shagari between 1979 until they were toppled in the 1983 coup healed the wounds of post-war Nigeria and reassured the Igbo of a place in the federation. Today, we are looking at the 2023 election and how the Igbos are planning to produce the next Nigerian president. We have joined us in the studio the national chairman, All Progressive Grand Alliance, Chief Edozie Njoku, to talk to us about this. Thank you for joining us on Daybreak this morning.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Chief Njoku, welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Now, the conversation about Igbo presidency has lingered for quite a while. For decades, we've been talking about this. Almost every eve of election, this issue will come to the fore. Yet, at the end of the day, we do not see it materialize. Why do you think that this is the case? Just go ahead.
Yes. Thank you very much again. If you remember, in 2002, APGA was looked at, using it as an example, and it was formed. And the reason why it was formed was a lot of people kept saying the Southeast have less states, the region is less and it's more difficult for us to be able to go into the larger parties to participate and win elections. So the Igbos came together to say, listen, we need to have a political platform to be able to express ourselves. A Southeasterner will not express the minds of the North will speak for the North, the Yorubas will speak for the Yorubas. The Igbos need to speak for themselves. So we're able to create a political platform so that our people can be able to make decisions. We know what happened in the elections of 2003. It was incredible. We were rigged, because I contested for Federal House in Anambra State. There was a concerted effort to be able to shut the party down. We also see what happened in 1979 when Nnamdi Azikiwe ran. The whole Igbos came together. We won nearly all the seats in the Southeast because we can follow directions. So there's always a sort of a concerted effort. And if you can see also the crisis in APGA. People will say it's the Igbos fighting. No, because I've been in that crisis again, part of it now, since 2019 till today, there's a concerted effort to make sure that things don't settle. But the Igbos, we need to go inwards a bit. We need to carry along the youths as well. And when I mean youths, people who are in their 20s, 30s, and even like for me now, I'm going to be 60 this year. I feel I'm too old to run to be a governor. I'm too old because I don't have the drive I had some years back. So we should also be looking more towards the youthful people to see how we can get things back on track, if that is answering your question.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, it's about the perceived, whether it's perceived or realistic. Well, that's for you to say about inclusion in governance, for the Igbos and all of that. Do you think that we should still be having these conversations at this point, and why have we continued to have them? Issues of ethnic, political leanings, ethnic leanings in our political sphere. Some people feel it's an elitist conversation.
Yeah, we should have. I mean, Nigeria should have gone way beyond this by now, but it's present, and when you're dealing with someone, he needs to feel that he's part of, the Southeast needs to have a sense of belonging. They need to feel that they're part of what's going on in Nigeria. For whatever it's worth, they really do. When you go back to the East, where I'm from, there's no light, there's no water. You can't blame federal government and things. But the normal person down in the grassroots feels that he's not part of the system.
But some will argue that, I mean, it's not exclusive to the Southeast. Yeah. This is the same dilemma. I mean, well, not dilemma, but it's the same experience or the same reality for Nigerians across board.
I agree with you, but when we're talking about people who are not as educated, so you will always they will always look for something to hold on to. And what they can hold on to is that we've been excluded from Nigeria.
Chief Njoku, you said that people from the Southeast need to feel that they're part of the system.
A sense of belonging.
What needs to be done for them to have the sense of belonging?
Like, there's a crisis we've had, which is coming to an end in APGA. People, I don't like saying there's nothing like powers that be. We are the powers that be. We're all Nigerians, we are. But there must be, it's very difficult, you know. The country needs, who is the country, if I say the country, but there needs to be a way in which that man down there has a sense of belonging. I'll give you an example. The unrest you have in the Southeast, let me talk about the Southeast. There's a lot of unrest all over the place. But the unrest in the Southeast is because they have nowhere to express themselves politically. They don't have a voice anywhere. So they just go around doing whatever they want. If there was a political voice, if there was an area where people can express themselves, the unrest would be a little bit less.
I do not understand this. You say if there's a political voice. Now, the APGA is one political voice for the people of that region. And that is not to say that they are not part of other parties. Are they applying themselves like other parts of the country are doing?
We had primary elections in APGA in 2018. There were 24 solid men, a CFO of a bank, different people came out to see how they will repair Imo State. 4 days to our primary, somebody was imported from APC to take the nomination of APGA. And he took the nomination. What do you think that will do to the party?
Somebody was imported from the
Somebody
APC?
Left his own.
He became a member of the APGA?
Overnight.
Who admitted him into the APGA?
You see, there's a system. Sometimes we who are the elites, we kind of try to brush things away as if we don't know that there are real powerful things that happen in this country. I've been in court. I won as a national chairman of a convention in 2019. The man who I defeated went to court and got an injunction stopping me from operating and stopping APGA from recognizing me. When he saw he was about to lose, he withdrew and said, we're agreeing. And then suddenly, all I can say, because is that he's still sitting on that chair up till recently. INEC are going to make a decision in a short while. But if I was not someone who was brought up abroad, who I know there is a system, I would have collected money or something and left the system. And that people abroad don't believe that it's possible. But I've stayed in the fight. People are asking me, why are you in the fight? Why have you stayed this long? Because justice has got to be done. Nigerian situation is a situation because at the level of education, we're not as educated as the people who are abroad. Even if they've not been to university, they're still quite educated, and they look at things differently. People are really pushed to the wall in this country that sometimes I wonder whether we're close to like animals because we've been so pushed to the wall. Not by Buhari, not by the governor, by the system.
Okay, now I want us to talk about governance at the subnational level, where the majority of the people are. We have a tendency as Nigerians to always, put the blames on the central government each time anything happens, whether it's from the most remotest of places, and all of that. No, we hear less about the governors. We hear less about the local government chairman. So what is missing, in your opinion, that we are not seeing as much engagement between the people and governance at the different tiers of government, especially at the lower level?
One thing about this country is that we're all two-faced. We never really tell the truth. We see the truth clearly and we move our heads away from it. you will see a governor who is not doing anything, and he appears somewhere. Rather than asking him the direct questions, we say he's an excellency, and we avoid asking those questions. You go to, maybe because we don't pay taxes the way we should, you go to a function, you see a governor donated 500 million. Nobody can talk because maybe we've not even paid that, we're not feeling it. So Nigeria has got to come to a place whereby we need to educate our minds to be able to come out and really ask questions more and tell the truth. Even in news, if you go for press conferences or things, like, people are not asking the right things. They will just be asking things for the person to be comfortable, and it's not fair. The people down there, they are really seeing hell in this country. Not because federal government is, but it's because of us as people. So
okay. Okay, Chief, it's a good thing. You keep talking about the people down there. 2023 is going to present an opportunity for new sets of leaders. And it's a good thing. You are the chairman of APGA.
Yeah.
What is, and we have been hearing of Igbo Presidency, Southeast Presidency. What is on ground to make that a reality?
A lot of people are doing their works in their various parties. And if we look at APC and PDP, they are bigger than us, in which we understand. If APC or PDP give their ticket to a Southeasterner or Southerner who is Igbo, we will be very stupid, I believe, to now go and start fighting. We'll now come to some sort of an arrangement where we can go that battle. But the most important thing, let me land, is that will APC or PDP do their own and bring it to the Southeast?
Njoku, that's what I keep hearing. If APC gives, if PDP gives, what is the Southeast doing to get it?
You see, that system as well up there is lopsided. That was why APGA was formed in the first place. With the amount of states you have, if there was a primary election done in PDP or APC, it is impossible. Just the same way we have quota system and things for education. You can have some sort of a quota system because the East needs to be brought to be shown that they are part of the system. I didn't say that. I said something of that resemblance. It is impossible the way it is skewed with those 5 states that if you bring a primary election and a Southeasterner cannot win it, with the way local governments are set, it is near to impossible. But the good thing is that APGA are ready. Once it is, let us build our House of Assemblies, our federal house, our senators, and now move forward to go and start discussing these discussions that you're making. If you notice, I'm being very careful with my words, and I have to be.
All right. I always like to talk about, governance, because I'm sure that if people see your party, APGA, in the southeastern part of the country as delivering dividends,
true,
to the people,
true,
soon it will spread across the country, true, and people will begin to see it. So,
true,
in the state where you have had APGA govern,
yes,
I'm interested in talking about, the lives that are touched, the people whose lives have changed, as a result of that. And I always, go back to the issue of the different tiers of government, because the truth is, that's the area where we should focus.
Yeah.
Would you say that if perhaps we've had effective governance at that level, some of the agitations that we are seeing and some of the clamor that we are seeing from the southeastern country, would we be talking about them?
I agree with you. APGA had a plan when it was registered. Peter took over. If you notice, he was scaled out, but he still took over in court. Things were moving in a proper direction. But suddenly, APGA government got derailed again, partly even with the crisis we have, whereby people are not facing their responsibilities. We were derailed, and that is something that we are planning very seriously, that we must bring back on rail. Some people were asking me the other day about Soludo. I said, Soludo has so much problems in his state. As a governor, he needs to go and tidy up those problems. He has the mind to do that, so let's allow him to focus on that and leave politicians. I reckon one of the best governments we had in Lagos State was when Fashola was there. And because he left politics to Tinubu and he took care of governance. And politics should not be brought so deep into governance. Governance should go away and face the people, whereby politicians play politics. And as soon as you win an election, you should stop being an APGA. You become a governor of the people, of the entire people, until elections come again. So if you notice, the very minute 2023 is over, we start campaigning again in 2024 for 2027. And we, the people, must be calling government to order and say, no, this is not acceptable. We have the power to do it. And the press is so important, as I keep saying, is the conscience of the people. They have a bigger responsibility, a great responsibility, and they must stand up to that if Nigeria are going to wake up.
All right, now we'll take a look at a report that was put together by one of our correspondents, talking about a conference that was held. The idea was to rally support for Southeasterners to come up with a unanimous candidate in the 2023 general election. So let's take a look at that.
The political class of the Southeast extraction have been crying marginalization, especially in the polity. They've been out of the saddle for decades now. At least they've lost touch with the exalted presidency, talking about the president and the vice president of the federation. For over the years, they've been working hard to stage a comeback into the mainstream politics in Nigeria.
One after the other, the leaders of Afenifere, Niger Delta and Middle Belt forums stress that it is imperative for political power to shift to the southeast to address perceived marginalization in the nation's leadership structure.
We believe that it is clumsy and inelegant for the southwest to seek the presidency at this time. Not after Obasanjo's 8 years as president and Osibanjo's 8 years as vice president. By design, the zoning and rotation policy is supposed to make it possible for each of Nigeria's 6 geopolitical zones to occupy the seat of president for 8 years over 48 years period.
The problem is ourselves. Let us unite. And let the Yorubas and the Igbos know that they have a stake to talk together.
Going down memory lane, leaders of the socio-cultural groups identified what they call reasons behind the inability to have a greater, inclusive and prosperous Nigeria. One of the objectives of the forum is to bring together the various presidential hopefuls in the sub-region for the purpose of speaking with one voice irrespective of their political leanings.
I have seen it all. For the peace and sanity of this country.
Critical challenges the region will be facing ahead of this election will be its ability to tame the violent agitation that has been plaguing the region, characterized by armed groups such as the indigenous peoples of Biafra, which has been proscribed by the federal government, and other armed groups. Again, the region will also have to consolidate its effort towards playing an inclusive politics where it will belong to the larger Nigerian project, so as to have a fair share of its place in the larger Nigerian picture. Shafiq Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
All right, thank you for staying. And well, there you have it. It's all about the Igbo consensus in the 2023 general elections. We have in the studio the national chairman of Progressive Grand Alliance, Chief Edozie Njoku, talking to us about this. Now, talking about this consensus, is it even possible to have this consensus? We have Chris Ngige coming up. We have Rochas Okorocha coming up. You know, we have from the south out.
Oji Kalu.
Oji Kalu, you know, from that
we
same
have
region.
Anyim
Pius is also coming. And then
there are
closely
others
to
in the offing saying they will soon
Rotimi Amechi and the rest of them. Is it possible to have that consensus?
Okay. I like from the list you gave, they were mostly APC. The same way the national chairmanship of APC got this thing out. It's the same way I believe that, because there was a stage in APC, there were so many of them, all from the north as well, all from even from the same state, even from the same local government, who were going for that national chairmanship of APC. few days before that, everybody fell in line and they got a national chairman. I believe that even if you look at APC before, I believe probably Tinubu wanted to be vice president, but when he saw how things were, they fell in line.
So is it likely that APGA will be joining forces, perhaps with, any of these candidates to be able to, achieve that?
If you say, I was already shaking my head, but I'm not
producing the president.
No, there's a national working committee. So when you're asking APGA, I was shaking my head. I have no right to do that. It's a committee that should. But on myself as a person, I believe that if we're all working towards a Southeasterner or an Igbo person to be president, we also in political parties should also, who are leaders from that zone, should make it easier for us to win, however we do it.
Chief Njoku, you said that it was because the Igbos wanted to have a voice that
Yes.
APGA was formed.
Yes.
Then I'm curious, why is it just in Anambra State? Because there are other states in the southeast. They should have keyed into it, considering that, as you said, it was their voice that wanted to be heard. That is one. Then secondly, that goes back, that now goes to my second question. How serious are the Igbos at becoming president in 2023?
They are very, very serious. And I want to go back to the first thing you talked about. And I've consistently said that there has been a concerted effort to hold APGA back.
By who?
A concerted effort. My explanation might make it clearer. The gentleman who came, I watched something, Chepa Sokore, was the national chairman of the party. And if you see the way he was knocked off, the way a treasurer, from being a treasurer, became a national chairman, and it passed through, got recognition. I won a convention clearly in 2019. Up till today, it's just now that I'm being recognized, about 3 years after. My tenure is ending about six months from now. How could a party stay vibrant and alive with all that crisis? There's nothing that kills a house more than, is even in the Bible, taking the houseboy and making him the head of the house. The minute you do that, all systems everything will erupt. And that's the eruption we have in APGA. And politics, if PDP was in government, the only way they could have stayed relevant in the Southeast was by causing that crisis we had in APGA.
So you are blaming this on external forces.
Then,
why didn't the members of APGA allow it to happen, though?
You see, there's I made a statement that a national treasurer became and was screaming foul, 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 and they expelled all of us. The state chairman of APC now, Ugochukwu Agbala, who was a governorship candidate, was suspended and he had to go. Uche Onyeagot was in the federal house. He was suspended and thrown out as a sitting member of APGA. That is what people do when you're trying to bring confusion in the party. But all that is behind us. God has been so kind. I've taken over as the national chairman of the party. And I'm sure that I'll be back here maybe in a year or two for you to say, wow, APGA is really breathing a bit better now. It will take some time, but you'll see the difference in the next few years.
Now, in terms of rallying support for the party, let's talk about in the southeastern region. We haven't seen, well, maybe to the best of my knowledge, there may be, but I'm not aware, presidential candidates under the platform of the APGA, so far, declaring intention and all of that.
There are quite a few expressions of interest, but I'm sure they are looking to see how it plays out in APC and PDP. With the crisis we've had, things are a bit slower than we would have wanted it to be.
As a follow-up to his question, you didn't answer my other question.
Okay,
how serious are the Southeasterners at getting the presidency, and what are they doing to achieve that?
We're very, very serious. They're very, very serious. And the sort of discussions, this is the first time I've seen people, strange bedfellows, actually coming together to say, let's solve this problem. I mean, you don't come out and start screaming about what is being done, but strange bedfellows in the Southeast from different parties, PDP, APGA, and APC, are sitting down having meetings on how we move forward for this Igbo presidency. Even people from the South with Igbo are also joining in.
There's this issue of distrust among fellow Southeasterners. People always say that they have a problem coming together for a common cause. Do you agree? And is that thing changing?
No, I completely disagree. I used 1979 as an example. When Zik took over, you saw what happened in NPP. It was a complete sweep. In 2003, when P2B won, it was a complete sweep, but we were not able to protect our votes. The people cannot always come together. You understand? I believe that with an organized setting, Africa is building an organized setting. With that organized setting, you will see the restiveness in the Southeast will reduce, and many of them will join politics. Many of them who you hear their names in these crises all around were members of APGA.
Okay, how do you intend to deal with the issues of lack of confidence in the political process? Voter apathy is a major thing in the southeastern part of the country. Each time there's an election. So, and now even coupled with the whole IPOP agitation and insecurity in the southeastern part of the country and all of that, making the situation even worse. So how do you intend to mobilize people and, you know, create awareness and ensure and give people some kind of level of confidence to believe in the political process in itself?
You're very correct. People are abashed of people have lost a lot of confidence in the political, I would like Nigeria to really think. There's no way in which, from the way you speak, you've lived abroad, and we hardly have your Hausa or your Yoruba or your Igbo. Everybody has their own friends. Nigeria should come together more and give and take. There should be a little bit more give to make us feel, or to make the man in his little ward to feel a sense of belonging. I don't really feel that Igbos are marginalized. That word is not the right word. But they've lost interest. They just do their little business, buy their little generator, do their little things. I believe that there's no government, there's no voting. We need to gradually bring them out of that mindset. And those are the things APGA will do as soon as this crisis has come to an end.
Okay, you know, there's this popular saying that the only thing necessary for evil to thrive is when good men decide to do nothing.
Yeah, to keep short.
You know, it's a popular saying. Edmund Burke said it, and then everyone is picking it up. Now, we have a lot of Nigerians, Igbo indigents, who are doing very well. They are successful business people, not just in Nigeria, even
all
abroad,
over the world,
right? Now, how can they bring to bear some of their experiences into the political space, into the governance issues in the Nigeria or the southeastern region, and also help with the changing of the narrative? How can you engage them? How have you been able to?
First of all, we need to, and I say that to my own people, we need to be very cautious of those who we hand leadership to. Whether you're at the House of Assembly, whether you're in the Federal House, because mostly politics in Nigeria is more or less being handed somehow. I don't want to go into that. But we need to be very, very careful so that people who are representing us have a little bit more standards, have a little bit more, they have, believe in themselves. And when they are like that, it is difficult to veer them out, and they come out and speak up. Politics in Nigeria now is just food is ready. Everybody just does what needs to be done for the money to come in. It shouldn't be like that. There are lots of great people. But why I latched on to this point, I told you that in 2018, 24 sound people came out to run for the governorship of Imo State. What happened was a big kata was thrown in there. Suddenly, somebody emerged. No primaries whatsoever. That was what agitated me to come and start fighting again for this national chairmanship. I've run for national chairman of APGA. This is my 4th time. 2007, 2000, I've been trying it, and every time a consensus has been given and said, no, I should wait, because maybe they look at me as a loose cannon. I'm not a loose cannon, I just tell the truth, and the truth must be told, and we should make sure that more people who come out and say the way it is are brought into governance.
Chief Njoku, you mentioned that the crisis in the region is going down. However,
it's going down.
Yes, the crisis in Southeast.
I didn't say that.
Oh, it's still there, right?
Yeah, there's
you acknowledge that it's still there,
because
still there. Yes, I wanted to point that out, because even yesterday there were killings in Imo State. Now, as leaders of that region, what are you people doing to galvanize the youth, to tell them that that's not the way to go ahead of the elections? Because some of those attackers, when they come to the people, they tell them that there's not going to be election in 2023. if these people want a change, I want to believe the only way out is an election.
True.
So what are you people doing? And also, you know, recently an INEC official was killed in that region. And when they went to meet the person, they said to him that we have said we don't want election in this region, and that was why they killed the person. What are the leaders of that region doing to ensure that the youth have a redirection on all of this?
Okay. In any area, you don't plant leaders. Leaders are created from ground upwards. You will know who is your leader. As soon as somebody is foist on you, then you'll be revolted. You don't want to hear what he's saying. With what has happened in Apaga now, people won't understand it. They see the difference. Younger people can now come out and say things are changing a bit. We've been able, because nobody ever believed that we could do what we've done. So you start seeing that leaders who are true leaders, you don't have to be 70 years or 80 years to be a leader. There are young men who have been leaders in their nans and things, and they have their own constituency that they are leading, not because they are voting or because you plant him there. And they are able to reach those places, say, calm down, come out, let's vote.
My question is there a conscious effort by a group of people in the East to bring the youth together and tell them that this IPOB way, these attacks are not the way to go?
I'm telling you that Apaga is doing that now. We've made it clear that the only way there will be a solution is through a political solution. It's got to be through politics. You must sit down with the other man, swallow some of the rubbish he's telling you, and he'll swallow some of the rubbish you are telling him. But you need to sit down. There has to be a political dialogue. It has to be. There's no doubt. And when you have the true leaders who go back to their people and talk with them and they receive the insult, they will be able to listen to them. Not the ones that wear red cap like me and move around in Abuja and they never come home to their village.
All right. Well, we'll talk some more. We'll take a short break now, and then when we come back, we'll talk some more about, forming alliances. As also a very important instrument in politicking. So please stay with us.
Thank you.
Daily, we bring you updates around politics.
People like you who are very young, you have no future. Anybody now who is 30 years, if what is happening today continues, by the time you are 60, you will have no country.
The DPO of a particular unit does not have to wait until the commissioner tells him what to do within his jurisdiction.
We have political parties on the ground. Some of them have been there for years. But they themselves, in their own sober moments, they know that this country is not the one they're expecting to run.
Policy and governance.
Are you saying the NBS is lying?
I'm saying to you very clearly that the NBS has a serious problem with accurate data till today.
The 5th Assembly, as well as the 7th Assembly, their own attempt were unproductive.
Emergence of the Taliban has simply emboldened terror groups globally.
There is a lot of attention with regards to security developments in Nigeria.
On Daily Politics, we interrogate issues, holding the actors to account, bearing in mind all the sides.
We heard that in some places now, people have to go and pay tax, not to the local government, not to the state, but to criminals.
Nobody can come to your house and kidnap you without information.
If this country is bleeding, it is bleeding because we have failed to educate our young.
All right, thank you for staying with us. And if you're just joining, you're a bit late, but not too late though. We're still talking politics on Daybreak this morning. And we have in the studio the National Chairman of All Progressive Grand Alliance, Chief Edozie Njoku, talking to us about the agitation for Igbo Presidency in the coming election. Well, I mean, just like we were saying, I want you to talk about alliances. I mean, politics is a game of numbers, isn't it? Democracy, they say, it's about, you know, the majority taking the vote and all of that. So in terms of the numbers, what sort of alliances do you envisage, or are you interested in having, to be able to see the realization of the Igbo presidency?
Okay. One of the greatest or one of the most beneficial alliances that the Southeast or the Igbos have gotten was in 1979 again with Ekweme, and when we had the vice president and we also had the Speaker of the Federal House. It was a great alliance in that the Southeast, and you mentioned it briefly, the Southeasterner, we started having a more sense of belonging in this project called Nigeria. We need to take the cue from there. We don't need to be the ones always at the back of the alliance. We can also be the president and someone aligning with us. You understand? In discussions I'll be having with whether it's APC or PDP, knowing fully well that I'm for an Igbo president, will be how do we get the mindset of the people to believe that they are part of this country. And once there's peace, solid peace in one area, it starts sipping down the rest. We can't be fighting from different fronts. Everywhere there's one crisis or another. And it's not born, I never agree that it's just the federal government who has, we as leaders are also very responsible. If really we've been allowed to be the leaders who we are, most people are appointed for us as our leaders. You understand? So when those negotiations are going on, our alliances, it must be with true leaders. Unless those people will be looking and say they don't come to collect our money again.
Okay. I think follow-up to his question is that at this point, the election is close by just next year. At this point, do we have some Igbo leaders going to the north to sell the Igbo presidency to them? Do we have some going to the south, to the southwest, to sell Igbo presidency to them? Do we have that going on?
The greatest agitation I've seen for Igbo presidency in a political party is in Apuga. You know, we have, like, my deputy is from Bauchi, the legal advisor is from, all, whether they're Muslims, whether they're all complete, everybody's voice is there. And I get surprised when I sit down and listen to them saying things stronger than what I'm saying, because we've been able to work together for a while and see that we're not a threat to each other. My vice chairman Southeast made a point that he always used to believe in this Igbo. He was saying it in a meeting, also one of these sort of meetings where we're trying to build a bridge. And he said he really believes so much in this Biafra, this belief, but he's beginning to be watered down by the influence he's getting from the NWC, because it shouldn't always be heated. There is always a compromise in anything you do if you want it to work. It's always just like, even like a marriage. You just have to compromise a lot for it to work.
Yes, but my question is, I want to hear, I don't know if maybe that is in the offing, that you have groups visiting states in the north, visiting states in the southwest, to campaign, to get the buy-in of those people in your project.
Those sort of things are not done at the moment by campaign. We are doing them, what I mean that the Igbos are doing them quietly.
Okay.
You understand? They're doing them quietly. And that's what I said, the executives in the party, I'm shocked. Some of them even formed their NGOs for this purpose of getting the thing for an Igbo man to be president.
Now, in doing so, what are some of the kind of challenges that you encounter, you know, in translating the kind of, you know, unity that you have experienced within the party across geopolitical lines, across ethnic lines within the party? What are the kind of, you know, challenges that you've encountered in trying to translate that to the general public or to the, you know, across party lines and members within the party?
One I really experienced was the initial thing we faced when we came to a place, whether it's Jigawa or to Bauchi, was Apuga is an Igbo party. And I said, no, it's not an Igbo party. It's a party that the Southeasterners have a very strong sentiment for. They've looked at it as a vehicle that could get them what they are looking for. Equally well, if you're in Jigawa or you're in Nasarawa, you could be an Igbo man who is in Nasarawa and you're looking for a vehicle to move the Igbo people into the... You can come and be part of that vehicle. So we should stop looking at things that this is outside, this is Igbo, this is... Because we're all the same. The same hunger that is someone is facing in Mongolia is the same one they are facing in Umbise. We need to become a little bit and talk more. You understand? When we are talking more, we should not be talking as a Muslim or as a Christian or as an Hausa man or a Yoruba. We should be talking as Nigerians.
Well, it's quite dicey, you know. Well, there's almost this blurry line between talking as a Nigerian and talking as an ethnic nationalist. You know, there's this blurry line there. How can we actually draw up the balance somewhere there?
That line is being created because wrong leaders. You see, like in Nigeria, it's most things that people do are based on their stomach, leaders can easily be created by false empowerment. You understand? But if we really need the crises, whether it's in the Yoruba land or in the Igbo land, to move down, we must allow the people to choose their leaders. They must choose their leaders. And once they've done that, they will hold those leaders responsible for anything that goes wrong. But with these leaders that we have that live in and stay in Abuja, whenever there's a small crisis, they run back to Abuja and stay there till, and then come back with a heap of mobile police and the people can't even reach them. And you think they will not be annoyed with us. They'll be very angry.
But Chief Njoko, ahead of the 2023 election, there's been so much ethnicity in all the talk. There's been so much region. All we hear and see on the pages of newspaper is not, you cannot do this, South, you must not do this, Igbo is our turn. So when I hear you say we need a Nigerian leader and all of that, a lot of your colleagues do not feel that way, do.
You see, there is no way in which an Igbo man can be president of Nigeria without the Hausa man agreeing to it. It must be discussed. And that's that discussion you are talking about. But I'm saying that we're so fortunate that our leadership has is a bit, I mean, I wish it was 2 years ago that things settled like this. We would have done a lot more work. But with the little work we are doing, we see a marked difference. Nobody really detests anybody. That when you sit down and talk to people, the detest is a little bit less. It's because we're not engaging each other. We need to engage more. We really need to engage.
Well said. Thank you so much.